morning. Welcome to JazzZone JazZabration podcast. I'm Linda Morgan Sam, your host, along with my co-host, Roscoe Lee Owens. Good morning, partner. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. It's another great morning. We just here getting ready to get started with this beautiful podcast and moving forward with the JazzZone JazZabration.
Absolutely. We are in our third week of the month. This month is just going by fast, partner. Can you believe it? Third week in January already. And we are super excited. We got two amazing guests that we're going to be bringing on. We have our amazing event that is coming up this Thursday. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Barbara Morrison Performing Arts Center. We are probably already sold out because our honorees have been excitedly inviting their guests to come and join them for this amazing event. Partner, so we are looking forward to a great showdown on Thursday. And then, partner, our new thing, because we know we only have a limited amount of space in our honoring because we've chosen to make it special. We've chosen to just make it our honorees and their special chosen 7 guests to come and witness their honoring. We're going to party in Long Beach on every third Saturday right after we do our honoring. So we're inviting all of our friends and family. If you are not able to be at the ceremony, we will be in Long Beach at our jazzy celebration for our jazz living legends on Saturday, January the 21st. So come on out. We're even thinking about doing a party bus from Leimert. Stay tuned. If you're in the know, you're in the know. Follow our website, JazzZoneJazZabration.org. We're trying to put all of our information there because it's so important for everyone to try to keep up with all the many things that JazzZone JazZabration is doing, and it gets tough sometimes. But if you go to our website or reach out and call us, we'll keep you in the know. Ain't that right, partner?
Absolutely. You know, knowledge is power and movement is progressive. So thank you. And what you've shared with that, because not only it's a special event, it's in a sacred, special place at the Barbara Morrison Performing Arts Center. And that says it all.
Absolutely. She left us a charge, and we are serious about the charge that she left us. Over a year ago in September, she had us to start this birthday celebration, celebrating life. COVID, she was through and tired with COVID, everybody going and leaving and transition. She said, how about we celebrate life? I know y'all celebrate and honor people and give them their flowers, but what about celebrating those who are going on? Me and Roscoe and her was in a meeting, and I said, Roscoe, I'm not doing that. Roscoe kicked me under the table. He was like, yeah. Just work with it.
But you know, the essence of that is my fortune to work with Doll Scott McDuff, which we were doing, and she had this whole process. And the reason that I entered the arena was because of the death of my father. So it was always celebrating the spirit, as well as when I came in concert with you, with Giving the Roses. So I said, this is the total package. And actually, we're back to the total package as well. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And her just really bringing that to me because and helping us to really see this is why we have JazzZone JazZabration. Celebrating life as well as giving flowers. That was her message to us before she transitioned. And so with that, we're going to bring up our first honoree, and that is going to be Miss Joycelyn Tomlin. You guys, I'm going to try not to be emotional. So, partner, if I get there, I need you to kick me.
You're going to be Linda, so go on with your bad self.
So, without further ado, Kijana, Joycelyn Tomlin, please. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here I am.
Yes,
Looking good early in the morning too. Go ahead
I
on.
was getting up early.
Yeah, yes.
The first one on, I
Yeah.
was on my job.
absolutely. It is our honor and our privilege and our pleasure to have you here with us this morning. Ooh,
Well, I'm glad to be here.
you
I'm just wonderful.
you're all that.
Talk for myself.
Yeah,
Then they get choked up there.
Let me talk to Roscoe. How you doing, Roscoe?
You know what?
Happy to see you today.
Yeah, you know what? The my understanding of how you have been in this community, and especially the community of the military, from the spaces that I know that you've been in, because you have celebrated others for many years, doing a lot of things in our community. Because it's not only the people that are in music and arts, but it's the people that are in our community that have really given their spirit and soul to a lot of the things. And I am so thankful for what you have done with the JazzZone JazZabration from the beginning to tomorrow.
Well, let me announce who I am.
Yes, please.
Well, I'm Tuskegee Airman all the way.
Yes.
I've been around since I joined the organization in 1994 when my uncle passed. And one of the things that I want to say about Tuskegee Airmen and their music, they love their jazz too.
Yes.
And their pinup girl was Lena Horne.
Well, I thought you wasn't you, wasn't me.
What?
No, I was just kidding. I said, wasn't you?
No, not yet. You guys.
well, I met Miss Joyson came in my life in 2016, and I have been honored to have her as a big sister, a second mom, and just excited that we get to give you your flowers while you can smell them, which is what this whole organization is about. Joyson became my ride or die as I became the administrator of Morningside United Church of Christ, which we affectionately call MUCC. And she brought me into the organization for the Tuskegee Airmen to help her just in the kind of background. We was just starting Zoom in 2020. Everybody was all hunkered down. And so helping the board meetings and the membership meetings with her was uh, a joy. And then she said, "Oh, can you be the public relations officer for Tuskegee Airmen?" I was like, "Oh my God, I've never been a public relations officer." She said, "Oh, you can do it. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you." So I lasted for a whole year as a public relations officer for the Los Angeles chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen. That was the best experience of my life, learning and growing with her side by side, being her ride or die for that organization. And she didn't tell us this part, but she and one of her friends owned a record company. What was the name of the record company?
Fifth Avenue Records. Yeah, we had our
Let her
studio.
talk about that. Let me hear something about that. Tell me
Oh,
something.
well, I don't know. I was one of the investors.
Oh, hey,
And
you must have seen something.
just like you have to go and promote and everything, we were going to little small clubs. And you know how they had the fly girls? So that's what our job was,
Yes,
to
she's been around this.
do the promoting. And then one of the clubs was down on Western and gosh, it was like 70 something Western. And we would be there like on a Wednesday night and promote the record company and everything. But anyway, we did have the studio. And at that time, the guys were promoting the rappers. I wasn't really into the rapping, but In fact, Craig Mitchell is the one that built our studio upstairs. We were renting above a barbershop. And they put out the first album. And then that was, so they lasted a while.
So that's a great correlation in between you and our next guest. But before we go to our next guest, we're gonna go to commercial, and you just stick right back there in the background, and we'll come right back to you. We thank you so much for being our guest. The show is not over. Key, take us to commercial, and we'll be right back.
Hey, did you hear?
Hear what? It's back!
What's back?
The San Bernardino MLK Day Parade and Extravaganza.
Hi, join us Monday, January the 16th in the beautiful city of San Bernardino for the MLK Day Parade and Extravaganza. Activities include classic car show, youth activities, float entries, live entertainment, food and vendor merch, and an art walk. We're looking for sponsors, float entries, also parade entries. Meet us there January the 16th in the city of San Bernardino. See you there.
The Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce and Youth Build Inland Empire and the San Bernardino Parade Committee welcomes you to the MLK Extravaganza. We will see you there.
JazZabrations is unique in the fact that we honor jazz and blues legends over the age of 65 who have contributed more than 25 years to the industry. Our performances educate our families about legacy preservation and as we entertain our communities to have fun and to be educated about keeping the legacies alive.
Welcome to the Jazz Zone. Allow the Jazz Zone to make your next event enjoyable and entertaining. The Jazz Zone is great for private parties, weddings, festivals, fundraisers, grand openings, and corporate affairs. Move up to the next level of entertaining with the Jazz Zone. Check out our website at JazzZone.net. That's JazzZone.net. Or call the Jazz Zone at 626-798-6848.
Absolutely. Welcome back. Welcome back to the JazzZone JazZabration podcast. We're here every first and third Tuesdays at 9 a.m. right here live on Facebook. We've just talked to our first honoree, Miss Joycelyn Tomlin, and now we bring on our second guest honoree, Mr. Michael Dolphin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. You amazed at all of our production we got going on here? This is our amazing studio. Welcome to JazzZone JazZabration, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Hey, partner.
Yes.
This relationship goes back many, many years. The three of us on this screen today. Michael said he was pulling up something from 2008.
Yes, I did. The Legends of Los Angeles awards that we started with the city of Los Angeles, and our first acknowledgments of Ernie Andrews and Cora Bryant and Velma Moret and Billy Diamond and a number of other folks, and Barbara and Buddy Collette. There was just some amazing, amazing folks that were way overdue on recognition and acknowledgement. And I had said at one point, one of the reasons we created it, Dal Scott and I, back in those days, is that many of these musicians, these folks have been celebrated on a national level, but Los Angeles had not done the same, which was a crying shame when you think about it. Gerald Wilson, Buddy Collette, and Vi Red had all won Kennedy Center honors, and nothing in Los Angeles came even close to giving them that level of acknowledgement. until we did the Legends of Los Angeles with the city and with the amazing Jan Perry and Vera Gosay at the time was mayor.
Absolutely. And we just modeled in that excellence.
Yes.
Starting, Jamie Foundation came, Michael, through conversations with, not Jamie Foundation, but the Living Legend Foundation came in conversations with Buddy Collette and Clara Bryant around that same thing. And the urgency call came around protecting their legacies while they were here.
Sure.
Making sure that their families knew what was going on with them before they transitioned. And it was around telling them about owning their names, owning just the simple intellectual property of owning your own domain name, buddycollette.com. And I remember as we were having that conversation, somebody had his name, buddycollette.com, and they were selling books. And so I met Cheryl, I met his daughter Cheryl, and we went after trying to find out who this person was, how could we get it back, how can we take control of that before Buddy checked out of here. And luckily, through the awareness of us doing the events at the Regency West in 2010, we were able to get his domain back prior to his transitioning. And so his work became so important in the continuance of the Pavers Night that you guys were doing with Doll Scott McDuff. I met her before she transitioned as well. So it was an honor to just continue doing this work. For me,
Sure.
I was a babe in it, and just coming from a perspective of let's gather everybody and make sure they understand the importance of making sure that they protect their legacy before they leave, making sure that they family know. We used to say, Roscoe and I used to say, where all the dead bodies is, where their music is, who owns the rights of it. How can they make sure that the family knows all that information? So yes, definitely.
And that is so incredibly important, because what we have to remember is that artists are artists. What they want to do is share their music, share their talent, share what they do on stage. And as important as the business side of it is, they spent 90% of their life becoming the artist that they are, and the 10% on the details, the legal details, which many times you expect a manager or an agent to cover for them. But more often than not, that's the downside of having someone else take care and be responsible for all of your business. And the fact that you are not just a performer, artist, but you're also a source of revenue, a source of income. And they're both intellectual rights, property rights, and other royalty rights that are due you if the contracting is done. I can tell you, and I won't, it makes me, there are a million stories to this day about the music business and the sad bit of the music business and how it affects these artists.
You know, I wanted to share about Dolphins of Hollywood and the performance play that you orchestrated, and it was so beautiful, but it tells the story of what you're saying. And not only does it tell the story, it talks about the aspect of legacy from your dad and, you know, that process.
Oh, thank you. Well, one, I have to give credit to my nephew, Jamel Dolphin. Jamel Dolphin actually produced the play and helped put the play together. And Jamel did something that was very difficult for the rest of us. My brothers and I, losing my dad was probably one of the most traumatic things, was the most traumatic thing of my life. And so it's very difficult for us for many, many, many years to have this discussion about the John Dolphin and Dolphins of Hollywood. Not so much that we had a problem with it, was just very difficult in very many ways. Jamel said, we're going to tell this story. And through some collaborations with his uncles, myself and my brothers and my sister, starting to put all the pieces together, published the book, and then decided with enough interest that would turn into the play. And the play was about Dolphins of Hollywood and what it was to start a business in Los Angeles in 1946. What most people to this day don't know is that until 1956, which is still within a generation, that until 1956, Los Angeles was officially segregated by real estate covenants. When my dad came here in 1946 with a pocket full of money and knowing that he had saved because he was going to create this Dolphins of Hollywood, when he went on Hollywood Boulevard to look at places for rent, and a real estate agent would show up and see that my dad was a Black man, and by the way, this property is no longer available. We're sorry. We're sorry. Oh, gee, we didn't know you were Black. We can't rent to you. We won't lease to you. So ultimately, and fortunately, when my dad opened the business on Vernon and Central in 1948, the Dolphins of Hollywood record shop, recording studio, and bought part interest in KGFJ. And someone once asked my dad, why are you calling the Dolphins of Hollywood? You're not on Hollywood. You're not in Hollywood. This is not Hollywood. My dad's answer was, I'm not in Hollywood yet. But that and obviously there's a lot more to that, but it is important that Angelenos particularly understand that for musicians, for the Red Calendars and for the Jesse Belvins and for all of those folks who were around here during that day, that they, I don't want to use the word suffer, but they migrated or found ways to work through what was part of the legal approach to restricting the expansion of Black folks in LA and in the music business, of course. But the upside of that is that Central Avenue became even more than what Harlem was in those days. You could walk down Central Avenue and bump into Count Basie or Duke Ellington or Barbara Morrison or Etta James or Lil Esther Phillips or, there's a story that my mom used to tell me that I used to sit in Billie Holiday's lap. I had no idea who she was, obviously. Well, not in those days. But I mean, just to think this was our Central Avenue in our community.
Thank you for sharing all that, because
that history is important to the history of Los Angeles. We have not done, and I'm going to take some of the credit, we have not done enough to acknowledge our own history here in Los Angeles.
Absolutely. I have a friend who has an organization called the South LA Bureau of Tourism and Trade. And she is from the Central Avenue era, and she is making sure that the history of Los Angeles is being properly told and remembered on video and through the original book from the first 100 Angelenos. And, it's a long history, but you are so correct, Michael. And just the fact that helping to keeping our history forefront is important.
Absolutely.
So, our other guest that we'll bring back in here.
One thing I wanted to say is that the marquee names get marquee publicity. It's the everyday musician that started at 6 years old and continues to play that we are celebrating. These are people in the community that have been putting in not only the work as a musician, but also the energy in our community to make it better.
Absolutely. You're definitely right.
Absolutely. And in so many ways, we're doing so much work, and I've devoted my life to this for the last more than 35 years since I decided to jump in. And as my friend Brick Wall once titled me as the jazz activist, but I think more of the Central Avenue activist. And much like the South LA effort, and I have had those discussions, and I'm looking forward to more. We have got to capture this and celebrate this because we have not done a good job. And with no derision intended, when folks talk about Crenshaw being the birthplace of Black folks in Los Angeles, Crenshaw came a lot later than Central Avenue did.
Yeah, because we went to Central, Western,
You're so right.
Central, Western, with the Tiki Club and all that, and then Crenshaw. Yeah.
Then Crenshaw, when we were allowed to move.
Yeah.
Across Crenshaw.
Allowed. Isn't that a word? Allowed. Excuse me. All right, Linda, go ahead.
Our interesting tie into this, Joycelyn Tomlin, bring her back in here to the conversation. Kijana, she's been over on the east side for at least 50 years, right, Joycelyn?
Yes, and I don't know how long we have, but it was something I was going to read on Thursday, but I would like to, I don't know, do I have a few minutes? How long do I have? This is like a thank you, but I'll read the whole thing, but I'm not going to read everything. Okay. I remember when in junior high school, lived on 36th Street between Main and Maple. Down the street, there was a boy who practiced the drums. Guess who that was? Edward Thigpen. I remember studying Chris on Sunday afternoon at the music hall across from the South Park. Jefferson High School students, Hampton Halls on the piano, Ernie Andrews on singing. Of course, older than me. Charles Mingus on the bass and William Woodman sax. They were a pair. They're part of the family, my family. They lived on 52nd and McKinley. Brett Woodman, trombone player with Duke Ellington, best friend of Buddy Collette. Sammy Davis Jr. and Mabel Fairbanks, a black ice skater at the Lincoln Theater on Central Avenue. Dunbar Hotel, where the musicians played and stayed. Orpheum Theater, where I met Quincy Jones. The Paramount Theater, where all the stage shows were. Waiting for the club for over an hour for Billie Holiday. Too slow, coming to the mic. My husband said, I love that woman. I said, I know you do. Anyway, that's my contribution to this podcast.
Excellent.
And Eric, Michael?
Yes.
I was in, that's where the music store where you went and listened to the records and stuff. I remember that. I didn't live that far from Central Avenue. I lived on 9th and Ascot.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, yes.
And born and raised, and that's old LA.
That's old LA. That's our LA.
And the Blodgett building, my stepfather was the criminal attorney here in Los Angeles, Curtis Taylor. And so that was, everything was happening back in the day. So I guess I am a legend.
Yes, you are. Back in the day and today.
And Michael, you heard her talking about she was an investor of the record label, Fifth Avenue.
No.
I mean,
yeah, that was it.
Fifth Avenue Records. She was an investor in that record label. And I was going to ask you, Michael, did that record label ever have any interaction with Dolphins of Hollywood?
No, Avenue Records came much later.
Okay.
My dad left us in 1958, and then the store through 1970. But the Avenue Records came a little later.
Okay, great.
No, this was more recent in the past. I would say 15 years.
Okay, much later. Yeah, much later. I didn't want to say much later, just later. One of the things you get to the point where you talk about much later or years or 50 or 2008, which is fine. And then you do the math and you just say, oh my Lord, don't do that.
We've been here a minute.
Yeah.
Well, we are so excited to have you guys. And again, on Thursday, we are looking forward to you showing up and showing out with your amazing guests. And as always, we wanted to just continue doing this work, pouring our hearts and soul into recognizing those individuals that are here in our community that my generation don't know about. My generation needs to know about. So when I termed the coin smooth ahead, it was a joke, but it was my way of saying to my smooth jazz friends, I'm going to take you and show you what straight ahead musicians and music is all about. And so that culmination of smooth ahead came about so that I can introduce my generation to these great musicians that's right here in our city that they had no clue about. And to this date, Michael and Joycelyn, we have honored 214 jazz, blues, cultural, artistic individuals who we term as legends. Yes, they are legendary in their own rights because of the amount of work and effort that they have put in into the craft in which they partake in. So, legendary legends. That is the work that we're doing, honoring and giving flowers. Yesterday was the 16th. Every 16th of the month, I write to my mom who transitioned 2 years ago. Barbara Morrison transitioned on the 16th as well. So I now write to both of them every 16th of the month. And as we're doing this series at Barbara Morrison's Performing Arts Center, every third Thursday of the month from 3 to 6 p.m., we have 3 months where we will be there on the 16th. So I am so excited. I've already laid out our calendar. We have saved the dates for all of those events, and we are looking forward to celebrating and honoring you on Thursday. So with that, I know we have to go. This was just our short show here today, but we look forward to seeing you. And please hang out in the background in a minute while Keith wraps us up and takes us home. Thank you again for being here with us on JazzZone JazZabration.